Hello, welcome to my journey into the media world. First of all, Rangers fans, I want to thank every single one of you who have supported me on my recent Steven Gerrard interview. The support from that has been absolutely crazy, so thank you so much. This time round, I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by a former Scotland international who scored 293 goals at club level. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by former Rangers striker Kris Boyd. Kris, how are you?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. So, first of all, Kris, I just want to take it right back to when Rangers came knocking on the door for you. At the time, was it a case for you, if I knuckle down back at Kilmarnock and then knuckle down at Kilmarnock and then I can make this move happen in January? Because at the time, I believe Wolves were also interested in you and there's a various...
Yeah, well, I had a few bits and bobs of interest from down south and it was something in the back of my mind that I always thought that, I wanted to play in England. But growing up a Rangers fan, and then obviously the opportunity to join Rangers was too good to turn down. To be given the opportunity to represent that football club, to represent or wear that number 9 jersey. I know it took me a year of that to get that, but that was always something that I wanted to score goals for Rangers, and I actually worked in my favour in terms of waiting until January, because a lot of the times when you maybe make that step to that bigger club, that if you've not been playing, you're not been scoring, or it's off the back of a summer campaign, fans are like, who is this? Who's this guy we've signed? And but for me, knowing that it was going to happen in January, I was able to get my head down and work hard from Kilmarnock in that spell there in 2005. And I think I left Kilmarnock with 17 goals. I was fortunate enough to finish the top goal scorer there that season, and at Rangers in my first season. So for both clubs, I was the top goal scorer, and got off to a great start. But I'll always look at that first 6 months, that last 6 months at Kilmarnock, and say to myself that because of the effort or the level you had to get to in training, and I really worked hard to make sure that people knew exactly who it was the Rangers were signing that initial period. And then as I said, when you get into that Rangers dressing room, you realise that there's still a long way to go, and that's when the hard work started. And as I said, I was fortunate enough to score the amount of goals and win the trophies that I did for Rangers over a number of years.
What's the difference between Kilmarnock and Rangers? Is it the standard of play? What is it?
Expectations. Kilmarnock was a great football club for me, and always will be. It gave me the opportunity to make those first steps into professional football. I retired there as well. Had a couple of spells, another spell in between during my career. And I'll always hold a special place in my heart, Kilmarnock Football Club. But growing up a Rangers fan, and as I said, wanting to wear that number 9 jersey and score goals was always something, a dream. And then I've been fortunate enough to sometimes your dreams do come true, and there's no greater feeling than scoring goals for Rangers and seeing 50,000 people jumping about singing your name. It's fantastic days. Thoroughly enjoyed every single minute of it. And I think that's the key thing, that yes, there's some tough periods, there's some difficult periods, but that's what makes the when you win things and you score the goals, that's what makes it extra special. I would say the expectation, the pressure to play with a big football club is the pressures that your teammates put on you to succeed at that level. And then I think the expectation is a big thing, because once you start to score goals, people expect it every single week. And I was fortunate enough that most weeks I was able to deliver.
Yeah, and just bringing it back a little bit there, you mentioned a bit in your previous answer. What was the first year like at Rangers for you? Because of course the man that brought you in got sacked in Alex McLeish. But then from the outside looking in, it seemed like a very fairy tale season, because of course at the end of it you got a call up to Scotland and scored a few goals there at international level.
Yeah, well, I think when we obviously knew, because I think the story could have broke maybe the end of January, February, that Alec was going to leave. And when you go to a massive football club like Rangers, and then you see that, and you hear that the manager's leaving, it's always in the back of your mind, don't know what's going to happen here. But I think that first 4 or 5 months, in terms of a personal note, it went really well, scoring goals, and but we hadn't won anything. We were third in the league. It could only go one way, and when Paul Le Guen came in, you felt as if after the pre-season you felt good. You felt as if, right, here we go, kind of type thing. But we never got going in the league to start with, and then obviously dropping points at Inverness and teams like that. No disrespect, but as Rangers players, we should be going there and win. And then it was a difficult period, but listen, it all changed as soon as Walter came in, and someone that actually knew the football club, knew the demands, knew everything about the place. And then we started to sign the calibre player that Rangers Football Club need if you're going to be a success. And I think over the next number of years, you've seen the influence that Walter had in the squad, and we were on and stronger from there.
Yeah, we'll go on to talk about Walter's influence on the club in a minute. But just going back to Le Guen then, do you feel that Le Guen underestimated the size of the Rangers job? Maybe from a player's point of view, looking back a little, maybe even a pundit point of view now?
Listen, I think that you don't actually realise how big the football club is until you're actually in the door. And listen, I was the exact same as a fan growing up. It's a big club. You know everything that's going on. You've got friends there. You think you know. But until you're actually in there and you're representing thousands and thousands of people on a weekly basis, then there's a pressure comes with that as well. And as I said, as a supporter, you can go and then you leave, but it's so you go to the games, you come away and you go to your work, and you can have dialogue. But as a player, when you're inside the club and you're a fan, it's the pressures are there, and in a way. When Paul Le Guen came, you've got to remember he was a head coach at Lyon at the time. He wasn't really responsible for signing players, and everything kind of changed. When he came to Rangers, he brought in some top players as well, but there was also some players that didn't get the football club, didn't understand the size of the club, and then you could start to tell that what would you say, the feeling within the dressing room of acceptance of I don't want to say failure, but the acceptance of dropping points, as I said earlier, at teams like Inverness, no disrespect to them, and then getting praised and saying it's okay, we go again next week and everything. It's until you're in there, you can't drop points at Inverness or Fairmont and Dundee United. You need to go to these places and win, and that was something that was a learning curve to me. But as I said, I got it right away. I knew exactly what it was, and I think that there was maybe at that time too many players came together that didn't really get it, and then, as I said, it totally changed as soon as Walter came back.
Yeah, of course, like you say there, Walter Smith came in. What influence did he have on your career? And did it help you all to have a fellow Scotsman come back?
It didn't matter where he was from, as long as they got the football club and understood it. As I said, Walter had been there for a number of years prior to arriving back in 2007, I think it was. But it was, you knew exactly, you could just tell there was a presence. I had obviously worked with Walter at Scotland. He knew my game. He was able to speak to me in a manner that he knew he was going to get the best out of me. And what I mean by that is the man management side of it. And when you look at what he'd done with other players, and then, as I said, he started to recruit players that got it. And I'm always a great believer that Rangers managers, Rangers players, any big club, that you need to get the whole thing. You need to understand it. And what I mean by that is if you're going even to the shop, you're going shopping and people are asking you what's going on and what's happening in there and everything, you need to deal with it. And the guys who have been successful at Rangers over a period of time are the guys who embrace themselves and everything, give everything for the cause, and understand exactly what it means to pull on that light blue jersey and represent Rangers Football Club. And for me, we then started to get back to a level of player that understood the football club. And as I said, you only need to look at the results. The trophies we won, obviously getting to UEFA Cup final and that as well. It was a fantastic period for the football club.
Yeah, and despite all that controversy that season, you bagged 25 goals and also got your first goal versus Celtic. As a Rangers lad, talk to me about what that feeling is like scoring that first goal against Celtic.
Listen, I mean, for me, I'd obviously played against Celtic a few times in a Kilmarnock jersey as well, and then you start to have a few games for Rangers against Celtic, and it's like, it's the only team that hadn't scored against in Scotland, I think. And I was actually speaking to someone about it the other day. Maybe you then start to question because I always believed in my ability. I always believed that it didn't matter whoever I was playing against, I would score goals. But maybe the build up to the week, or, is this going to be the week where Kris Boyd scores against Celtic for the first time or that? Maybe I started to read too much into it and then start to change my game. And I felt as if when I got the opportunity in an Old Firm game, you probably worked a little bit harder than what you normally do. But it would be a case of I'd be going and chasing defenders, just stupid runs to make sure, like, oh, look, I'm working hard. Can you type thing, rather than actually just focusing on what I knew I was good at. And that was getting myself in the box. But on the flip side of that as well, when you look at a lot of the bigger games, the Rangers, Celtic games, the European games, I can totally understand why I wasn't involved in a lot of them, because my natural habitat was in round about that 18, 20 yard box. That's where the majority of games were pinning teams in, and that's where you're taking chances. But in the bigger games, when I'm on the 30, 40, 50 yards for goal, it's difficult for me to have the impact or the influence in a game as what I would if we were pinning teams right back. And I always joke and say that at the end of the day, I scored against everybody else and left the Celtic the Celtic games to Kenny. So listen, we had a good blend, and I was delighted obviously to get that goal. But looking back now, I never thought that would have been my first and last goal against Celtic. But listen, I can't complain. I've enjoyed plenty of good special occasions against Celtic, as a team, and I would like to think that as a team, I helped to during the season and even games against Celtic, I helped to beat them.
Yeah, and you mentioned it a bit there about the European games being left out in the 2007-08 season. The first season was this the first season where you started to sort of concentrate on trying to impress Walter rather than doing what he did best?
No, I mean, I think that I wouldn't say, because I knew that for me going and sprinting about here and trying to close down defenders was never ever going to be my game. But the big games as such were more based around maybe us defending and hitting teams in the counter attack. Then I've not really got the pace for hitting them doing the counter attack either. So that was I didn't have that in my memory. And as I said, that we were further away from goal against the better opposition. So maybe what I was good at wasn't needed in that game, and that's why we went with the formation and the players that we did at the time. And listen, it was a successful period. We can't argue. Was it frustrating at the time when you're not playing? Of course it is. But when I look back now, I can totally understand. And listen, I get the whole thing of why it was, and then when you actually speak to Walter now and you look back at it, maybe I was. Because he always said, "Listen, you'll be the first name on the team sheet on a Saturday."
Was that your motive?
Well, I think that I knew I was getting a game every Saturday, but it was difficult for me to process the fact that you were scoring goals on a Saturday, then I was being left out of European games. That was difficult to get. But when I look back now, I can totally understand it, because it must have been frustrating for a lot of our guys as well. And that's probably the first time that we had a real squad where you could have left 4 or 5 out and it wouldn't have made a difference the following game, because there was a lot of our guys played more European games than what they actually did games in Scotland that year as well. So I totally get it. I get it now. It was difficult to process back then, but looking back, we won things. We got to the UEFA Cup final. I can't complain too much.
Yeah, you talk about winning things there. I believe your first trophy was the League Cup versus Dundee United. With your upbringing at Kilmarnock and where you got to at Rangers, did you feel this was well earned?
Well, I think for me, because I had opportunities to leave Rangers beforehand, and because I'd scored a number of goals, and I'll always say it, and I say it all the time. If I'm out doing anything and speaking, that I didn't want to leave a failure. There's been plenty of players who have scored goals for Rangers over the years, but I wanted to win something. There's been players who have pulled on that jersey, and I always think if you represent a big football club the size of Rangers, you need to win things to be actually appreciated. Yes, goals goes a long way, but if you're not delivering trophies with it, because that's what big clubs are that's what the history's made up of, and they don't look back and say, oh, he scored X amount of goals. It's who won this and who helped win this, and for me, those opportunities came about, and I wasn't interested in leaving because I hadn't won anything. I didn't want to be that Rangers player that hadn't won anything, that I grew up a fan. I wanted to taste success. I wanted to win a trophy, and you're right. That Dundee United, the cup final, that was the first time we'd won anything. I think I was on the bench that day as well. Come on, got the equaliser. Then we went to extra time. I scored the equaliser as well, and then scored the winning penalty. So it was a fairy tale final for me in a personal note. But the whole thing was for the football club. Then we went a number of years without winning a trophy to actually get our hands on silverware again. And I think that was the moment where we realised, right, okay, we've won something. Let's go and kick on and get something else. And then you can start to, because I listened to a lot of people saying about, oh, he's a winner. You're not a winner until you win something. And I think once you actually get your hands on that winner's medal, on that trophy, you then realise, I want more of this. It's like a drug. I want more. I want to win more things. And that's where I think, because we won so early in Walter's second spell at Rangers, that's where the momentum grew from, and we went on for there. And as I said, we were really, really successful over a period of a few years. Yeah,
that sort of set the way, didn't it, for you to win a number of trophies on the water?
Yeah, definitely. But I'll say it again, that because we had that success early doors, we realised that, right, okay, this is what it means. This is what you want. You want to win something, and you want more of it. It's a drug. You want more. You want to keep winning. And after that, the trophies kept on coming, and it was a successful period for the football club. But I mean, all of it was down to, obviously Walter picked the team. All of it was down to Walter in terms of the way he assembled a squad, he built it, and then we were able to get the best, to keep everybody happy, and turning results every single week. And on top of that, UEFA Cup final was the icing on the cake in terms of getting there. Okay, we get beat, but it was still fantastic to get there. And for me, it'll be the last time a Scottish team appears in a major European final, that's for sure.
Yeah, if we fast forward to 2009, then you break Henrik Larsson's record. Where's his rank in terms of achievements for you in your career?
I mean, it's something when you look back now and you're finished, you're proud of it. But at the time, it was just a case of, listen, let's get a result, let's score the goals to go and win another league title. And that's exactly what it was. It was a game against Dundee United. I was able to score 5 goals for.
You like scoring against Dundee United, don't you?
I know, I loved it. I used to love it. And to be fair, the twice I've scored the 5 goals in the 2 games as well was against Dundee United. So I was a good club to play against, that's for sure. But no, it wasn't something that at the time really meant that much, because you just wanted to get the result, go again the following week, get the result, and then obviously win the title, and that's what we were able to do. But looking back now, you're obviously proud to finish, the SPFL top goal scorer, and as I said, but I wouldn't be able to do it without my teammates, and a lot of everything's down to them. I can get myself in the positions. I knew that I could score goals, but without them supplying, with crosses, through balls and stuff like that, you wouldn't be anywhere near the level you were at. So I can get myself into positions. I would always back myself to score goals, but it's down to them, the amount of opportunities and chances that they created.
Yeah, finally on Rangers, looking at how you left the club in 2010, do you feel it was the right decision looking back on it?
Listen, there's things went on that I won't go into, that I've never spoken about, and I never will speak about. I think it was private with me and the football club at the time. Listen, I always wanted that crack in England. I understood that things were going on behind the scenes at the football club, and it was the right time for me to go. You look back now and say, could it have been maybe handled differently or whatever? Then I don't know, because as I said, there's things that it's difficult for me to sit here and actually tiptoe around about it, because there was things went on, and then, as I said, I wanted that crack in England. It didn't work out, but for everything I had achieved and I had won stuff, and I wanted to have that crack in England, and I think that's every boy's dream. That I was fortunate enough to wear that number 9 jersey, score goals, win things for Rangers. That was the number one priority. But I'd achieved that, and another thing, and I think I said it right at the start, was I had a burning desire to play football in England as well. It didn't go the way I thought it would have. Middlesbrough was a difficult place at the time. Looking back now, maybe that was the wrong move for me, because as soon as I went to Nottingham Forest, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I got my love back for the game, and we were really, really unfortunate not to go that year. Came up against a Brendan Rodgers Swansea team that was a well-oiled machine, and they knew exactly what they were doing. I mean, we all know the way that Brendan Rodgers plays football. It was the exact same back then with Swansea. They had some good players, and our Nottingham Forest team came up short. But Billy Davies left after that summer, and that move never materialised. I found myself back at Middlesbrough that summer, and I knew it was never going to happen. They'd started to cut the costs, and it was time to move on. And I had the opportunity to go to Turkey. As I said, I've had numerous opportunities to go to Turkey before I actually decided to go. And again, it was just something that was inside me that I thought, listen, why not go and try it? See what it's like. If it doesn't work out, you can always come home. And I'm glad I've done it. I mean, it wasn't the most successful period in my career, but listen, I'm glad I've done it. Take the finance side out of it and that as well. It was a total different culture. And I think until you go and experience cultures, you go and experience different countries and the way they live, then it can only help you in your future. And it definitely did. It definitely did that. And I'm glad I done it.
If you liked the video, guys, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new, and don't forget to turn on your post notifications. Until next time, goodbye.
Hit the subscribe button and follow my journey to the media world. Click the video choices on screen to see more of my work.